This is the mighty Omen. I know who I am, know my identity. I born, proud descendant of she. Magical country, I go see it vividly. She's full of charm, touched by a magic wand. I spit out from she mouth, that's why I am so proud. Come see the connection, little string buried in this land. I am who I am, a Dominican. When they ask me who I am, point to a direction, straight from the air, I am Dominican. When they ask me who I am, I tell them where I'm from. In every way, I am Dominican. Dominica lives in me. Looking at me is what you see. Who I am, what I am, is Dominican. Did I? Na na ne. Give me. I know who I am, she's part of me. From where you stand, see a reflection of she. Tall is a body, can't you see it in me? She's a natural beauty, whitey kubuli. She's one of a kind, lasting impression on your mind. Come look in the eyes, see my pride in the nature. I am what I am.
Well, thank you for having me. Well, thank you for having me on your program. It's great.
Your regulators, and that you have been was abducted. Would you care to give an explanation at this stage?
Did I? Na na ne. Give me. This is the mighty Omen. I know who I am, know my identity. I born, proud descendant of she. Magical country, I go see it vividly. She's full of charm, touched by a magic wand. I spit out from she mouth, that's why I am so proud. Come see the connection, little string buried in this land. I am who I am, a Dominican. When they ask me who I am, point to a direction, straight from the air, I am Dominican. When they ask me who I am, I tell them where I'm from. In every way, I am Dominican. Dominica lives in me. Looking at me is what you see. Who I am, what I am, is Dominican. Did I? Na na ne. Give me. I know who I am, she's part of me. From where you stand, see a reflection of she. Tall is a body, can't you see it in me? She's a natural beauty, whitey kubuli. She's one of a kind, lasting impression on your mind. Come look in the eyes, see my pride in the nature. I am what I am, a Dominican. When they ask me who I am.
Good evening. I am Cleville Mills. Welcome to True Politics, a unique radio program that gives you a better understanding of the Dominican politics, the Dominican politician, and their political perspective. True Politics' main aim and objective is to dismantle and expose fake news by informing the public of the tactics and techniques of disinformation services. The program also gives you, the listening audience, an opportunity to exchange your ideas as well as to dialogue with the host and guests in an effort to create a more harmonious relationship among us all. We are broadcasting from the studios of Kyrie FM in Roseau on the frequencies of 93.1, 88.7, and 107. We are also streaming live on kyriefm.com, Facebook Live on Kyrie FM page, and on TuneIn. And those of you who are going to call us, the numbers to call are 448-7334, or if you're living overseas, 305-906-6186. You can also call us on WhatsApp, 613-1307, or 245-2929. We also can be found on Flow, on the cable channel, Flow channel 93, 953 and 954. Or if you're using Digicel, you can find us on channel 54. So we are covering the globe, and we are covering you with True Politics this evening. So welcome everyone, and we have already in studio this evening with me my co-host Edison Fabian. Donny Fabian may join us online, but so far we are on and we are ready to go. We have a very exciting program for you this evening. So before we go into the program, I want to say good evening to all those of you, our fans, our supporters. I want to say good evening to Antonia Simon. She told me that she knows you from Scottshead.
Yes.
Right. So I want to say hello to you. I want to say hello to the Gervier family in Scottshead. And all of you, every day, Edison, I say I have to take a pen and make a list of the persons that I have to call. I do not want to call too many people because some people will always be left out. But I'm very happy and thankful for the support and the encouragement that we have been getting for True Politics. It is now very vital in this world of disinformation. So welcome, Ellison. Your good evening.
My good morning. Well, True Politics. Good evening, everybody, whether you are in Dominica or you are on the little islands, wherever you are, whether it's Antigua, whether it's St. Thomas, wherever you are in the globe, it could be in the mainland America or in Europe, or maybe you are in Dubai, somewhere,
or India,
and you are listening. Let me say special good evening to the journalists from India who are listening to us right now. Mm-hmm. I say good evening to you. Welcome to True Politics. On this program, what we do here is dismantle fake news, because there are so many different kind of fake news being bombarding the airways, especially fake news from the leader of the opposition. We'll be dismantling them this evening. If you listen to us and you just give us a listening ear, you will understand exactly what is happening in this Choksi matter. You will understand why the opposition is going the way they're going. So with that, I just say good evening to everybody. I don't do like Mills. I try my best not to call some and leave out some. So with that, every one of you are special to me. There's some of you that are more special, of course. So, those that are more special, you know yourself. Good evening.
They know themselves. Okay. Yeah, we are also broadcasting. It is 107.9 FM. 107.9 FM on Kyrie frequencies. So yes, once again, welcome to True Politics. This evening we are going, as we started last week, we started with a series on the work and some information about MMCE. Edison is the expert.
Donnie is on already.
Oh yes, Donnie is on. Oh yes, Edison is the expert in the business.
Well, I'm not the expert in the business. I just happen to know a little about MMC.
Okay, so before you go into MMC, let me just call on Donnie to say his hello. Donnie, welcome. Good evening. Oh shit, I do something wrong. Yeah, Donnie. Okay, something is wrong. Okay, Danny, Donny, you,
Let me say something then. That was not.
that was not for radio.
That was not for radio.
Okay, Donny is back on. Donny, good evening. Good evening.
Hear me, Mr. Mills?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, yes. I said good evening to the people of Dominica at home and abroad. Good evening to you, my comrade and brother, Mr. Mills, and my comrade and brother and cousin, and pin in my neck, Ellison. Good evening to you.
boy, behave yourself, boy. Get into you, Donny. What's up? It's a good pin in the neck.
Good. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Mills, I'll give you stories about this guy when we grow up, and you will never believe, man. That guy's a pin in the neck.
Well, you must have a lot of stories.
Oh.
The man just going to bore you with some stories that don't make sense.
You give it to me in episode.
Yeah. I'll make a Netflix documentary.
you make one like Choxy.
Yeah.
Not of that nature though. But Netflix involve a lot of drama and comedy sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's good to be here. Good to be here to be part of your program and to continue to debunk the opposition's propaganda, because this is a very, very important service which is required in today's world. Okay. So
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Well, as I say, we're going to have three parts. We're going to have that series on MMCE. We'll be playing an interview, a very interesting interview that I had, True Politics had, with the lawyer of Mehul Choksi, the Indian fugitive. And we'll show you how that lawyer used fake news to try to go on a campaign to see if he could make public relations to cause government to take wrong decision. We'll explain that later. And then we'll give you, you'll hear from one of our announcers who will be reading the news on the I think it's on the newspaper, of how that same lawyer is in hot water in England today. Now, Edison, I'm not going to play long, but I really want to refresh the people. I'll just play a 1 minute of Stick By Me. Some people still love that song so much. I don't know why. I suspect you love it too, Edison. Yes, stick by me, and I will stick by you. Listeners, stick by us. We're going to stick by you. We're going to give you the truth. We're going to debunk fake news. And even where people try to demonize certain companies, we want to let you know the truth about these companies. Edison.
Yes. Last week I started talking about MMCE. MMCE, the company that is going to the airport in Dominica. They are not contractors, they're developers, and they are going to develop the airport Dominica International Airport. I rather suspect a different name, but for now it's Dominica International Airport. And MMCE, as I said, has been in operation since 1989. Transformed into an immigration and consultants company in 1999. Very important. That was way before Skerrit was even a politician. Now, we have heard a lot of fake news that Roosevelt Skerrit is part of MMCE. This company started before Skerrit. So there's no way, shape, and form that Roosevelt Skerrit knew anything about MMCE while he was a teacher. So that is fake news. So with that information, MMCE, as I said last week, they came into Dominica to work at Petit Savin, for the replacement at Petit Savin. We know that they built 353 homes down there, including basketball court, gym, shopping center, and I give you the whole 9 yards. But not only that they built a part after Hurricane Maria. They built Cassie Bruce. They built homes in Cassie Bruce. They built homes in Gramphone. They built homes in Laplane, Daly-Cee, Saint-Sauveur. Additionally, they did Cotton Hill and Georgetown. These people continue their work, and they add to the stock of houses in Dominica. I think that's about 1,000 houses already in Dominica MMC have done. And there was Granby, Jimmy, Stock Farm, Upper River in town. They are working for the betterment of Dominica. And they also did the Marigot Hospital, Wesley, not Marigot Hospital, Marigot Health Center, Wesley Health Center, Vilcas Health Center, Mao Health Center, Bellevue Shope Health Center, Painville Health Center, Georgetown Health Center, Coley Health Center, Newtown Health Center, Soufriere Health Center, Bacatel, and Ansdi Miriam from. And let me tell you, they all look well. And not just they're not just clinics, but wellness centers, smart centers. And we are grateful to MMCE for their work they have been doing in Dominica. In spite of all that, you have negative news about MMCE. MMCE right now is on the project in Wesley. And when I say Wesley, Wesley is very important, because the project they are doing in Wesley right now, it means the beginning of the airport. To do the airport, you must move people from their homes. So the government is paying the people for their homes, and MMCE is partnering with the government. And what they are doing is that the people had a choice whether they take money or they take a home. And 31 people decide to take homes. In that 31 people, they get a house where no house in Dominica is strong as that one. And I can tell you, not one. Because in Dominica, we use 6-inch blocks to build our houses. With MMCE at Wesley, they are using 8-inch blocks. And every hole has a steel. And every hole is poured concrete. So that house is not going nowhere no time soon. On top of that, they have a concrete roof upon that. And then they put a galvanized roof upon that. So these people getting a strong, everybody's getting a stronger house than they had. Because no one has a house like that in Dominica. Everybody else has 6-inch blocks. We use 8-inch blocks in foundation, in construction in Dominica. MMC has brought in 8-inch block to the equation. And that of itself is wonderful. Now, with the 31 homes now, let me tell you how it has been done. You have 9 of that 31 houses 9 19 of that 31 houses as 2-bedroom house. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. You have 9 as 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. You have 1 as a 3-bedroom with an upstairs and downstairs. You have 1 as a 4-bedroom upstairs and downstairs, and you have 1 bungalow, 4-bedroom. That makes the 31. There's a second phase. That will be 50 houses in Wesley. I said 50. So the first phase is 31 houses. That will move the people in the immediate path of the airport. And I say thanks to MMC. We all Dominicans should be saying thanks to MMCE that make it possible for that to happen. Let me tell you, this time I say thanks to all the workers at MMCE office in Bellevue. Carl, I always have a problem pronouncing the last name, so I'm not going to pronounce it. Carl, who is the head, Ahmed, who is the second, and the rest of the men like Prashad and Junel and all the others. I say thanks to your hard work that you are doing for Dominica, in Dominica, because it is well appreciated, and you are etched in our hearts and minds forever because of what you're partnering with Dominicans. And as the Prime Minister says, Dominicans will be employed and Dominicans are employed. I also want to note that basically the housing stock is being done by local contractors, and it's going with record speed. I mean, 6 months you'll be getting 31 houses. 6 months approximately you're getting 31 houses. I am telling you, that never happened in Dominica, thanks to MMCE. And why am I saying that? Is because the opposition has painted MMCE as something bad. Anthony Hayden while he's doing business, he has a good heart and he's working in the interest of developing Dominica. And anyone that chooses to develop Dominica, I stand by them and I stick with them. Stick by me and I'll stick with you. Thank you so much.
Yes, that is a very interesting expose you have there on the work of MMCE. I need to have that. I need to see some brochure or some.
As time goes by, MMCE will be more visible to the community. You'll be seeing more and hearing more of MMCE, not from my voice, but from other voices, because this company is not in Dominica for a short time. They will be there for a long time.
They are invested in Dominica.
They are invested in Dominica.
Yes, and it is important that you could do that, because I do not know why some people, when they see development, they have to get something to make it look like it is not development. And I want to say that again. The opposition have been saying forever that Anthony Hayden and the Prime Minister Skerrit have Dominica money somewhere overseas. That is a very malicious statement.
Very malicious.
I am saying that escrow account is not new to Dominica. The idea of escrow account, or accounts that are not in the consolidated fund, is in the Constitution of Dominica. I keep saying that the consolidated fund is a default account. In other words, if it is not specialized, it go to the consolidated fund. But anywhere there's an account set up under any law. In the case of the citizenship by investment program, there is a process where people invest in some project that is approved by cabinet, and that investment, the money paid to that investment goes to an escrow account. It is unconstitutional. As a matter of fact, it is unconstitutional to put that money in the consolidated fund, because there is a special account for it. So Lennox Linton, when you are trying to fool the Dominicans and playing malicious, you are not talking the truth about the laws of Dominica. You're just silly, malicious, and have an evil heart. The escrow account has been there before even you put your foot in politics. All the time you want, what about pretending that you're a journalist, but being an undermining politician? We had escrow accounts.
And let me just tell Dominicans one more thing. The CBI program, for example, Kipinski, these people sell citizenship by investment to investors. And it's easy.
I don't like the word about selling, because people
they sell citizenship, not passport, citizenship to investors. But I understand what you're saying.
Because when Lennox talking about it, when under the UWP, he called it citizens by investment. When he talk it under the government, he said he's selling passport. Just
well, I
using
did
words.
not say passport. I said
I know. Yes, I know. Yeah.
So there's a difference. The people sell citizenship by investment, or they get people to invest in Dominica, invest in a condo, invest in a building, and they facilitate it with a citizenship of Dominica. Now they get something. Listen to that. They get something for their money. MMCE, on the other hand, now, they are not selling an investment. They get people to put money into the development of Dominica, and the people get only a citizenship.
Oh, yeah.
They facilitate that by granting them a citizenship of Dominica. That of itself is more difficult to sell or to attract people, and MMC has been doing that. So the apartments are not foreigners' apartment, but Dominica apartment. And those who receive an apartment, a house, whatever you receive from the citizenship by investment, you ought to thank God and thank MMC, thank Roosevelt Skerrit government, Labour Party government for this great initiative. Just think, if the new Labour Party was not in power, what would have happened? You will not be getting that. I thank you.
Okay, well, yes, you had your say. I had my small say on it. Donnie, we are about to wrap up that session. So if you have any comments, you are free to come in at this time.
Yeah, just wanted to say, I mean, it isn't, said it all, did a comprehensive overview of the program. I hope people understand, because there's a lot of misinformation being put out there by the opposition, trying to impute improper motive and cast doubt on MMC's operation, in Dominica. So it's a good thing, you put out the information and let the people care for themselves, the facts as to what is really happening. One thing it is made of note that I want to reiterate is MMC engages a lot of local contractors. A lot of local contractors are engaged on the for MMC, making their money in Dominica. I mean, there's one famous, notorious voice, who always, is always attacking the Prime Minister and stuff. Well, he got a contract on the MMC for, I think, $10 million, or $9 million. So when they, these people always bring, misinformation, or MMCs is only foreigners getting money. That is not true. Dominicans are gainfully employed through these projects, through MMCE, okay, so subcontracts. So, what's happening in Dominica, we cannot ignore the fact that, like Elison said, over 1,000 homes have been built for Dominicans who really need it, especially the people from Pittsburgh who lost everything after Hurricane Maria. So, we have to give MMC big applause, and I myself want to personally commend them for what they're doing. And now they're going to undertake this huge project, which is going to absolutely, just transform Dominica into an island that we've never been. Okay, so thank you, MMC, and I pray God blessings upon you, so you continue to work for the people of Dominica.
Okay, thank you, Donnie. Well, we are moving on. It's almost 7 o'clock, and we are going to change gears right now. We're going to talk about that Choxy that they like to talk about. You know, as I was saying, Edison, maybe since on the 18th we're in July.
We're in July, 21st of July.
Oh boy, the days are going so fast. Sometimes around the 18th of July, I started an interview. June. I started an interview with the lawyer, Michael Polak, because I heard on the radio that he had filed a complaint, and they had that illustrative story about how he was kidnapped and brought to Dominica. We are not calling the case, but it is in the media, and they have been using misinformation to try to muddy the waters. So we decided to contact him because he was the one that came in on the radio. He even had a press conference saying that Choxy was kidnapped. So that would add to whatever defense he's trying to do for the case, that he did not come there on his own free will. So I contacted him and I asked him a few questions. And he gave that same narrative that he gave reasons why the governments were involved. So, but I told him that I cannot publish that because there's no evidence, as far as I could see, that could support his case of abduction or kidnapping, whatever you want to say. He never gave me that. He never gave me that evidence. And then I told him if there is more development, I'll contact him. And he'll get the interview. And it stands to reason that he never responded when I tried calling him. When I checked the time that I was calling him, and the time he was not responding, it was the time that the solicitor's regulatory authority was on his back. So we're going to play that it's a bit long, but it will go about 20 minutes. But it is important that people hear how in Dominica, people on the radio, they go and get information, and it is not cooked. I can say it is not cooked, but because it is fitting the narrative that they want, they publish it and they play it over and over, and that is how this lawyer found himself got trapped in that matter. So let us listen to that interview for a few minutes.
On your program, it's great to speak with you, and it's great to speak with the Dominican people. And I must say before we get started, I'm very pleased the Dominican people aren't taking the government propaganda which is being put out, which is ridiculous propaganda about what's happened in this case, and they're doing some investigations themselves and really turning up some really good evidence. So I'm very pleased about that. This case clearly shows kidnapping, which was planned a long time before May. In April, there was a dummy run, so exact same movements of people from the United Kingdom into Antigua, with some of them flying from Antigua to Dominica, and 2 men attending by ship who weren't allowed into Dominica because they were suspected of people trafficking on that occasion. Then we move on to May. And what happens in May is the woman here, she asks for a apartment with boat access. She also asks, and this is quite interesting, and she says we might want both the villas, Villa 407F and 407E. 407E was later booked by a travel agency from the United Kingdom, and we think that's a key piece of evidence because the people in that apartment would be the ones involved in the kidnapping. So Mr. Choxy goes to see her in the evening. He is set upon, a bag's placed on his head, he's put on a smaller boat and taken out to sea. And what the Antiguan police report is that the boat, the Calliope of Arn, was seen going back and forward across the mouth of English Harbour, waiting for someone. And we've got video evidence now of the smaller boat travelling at speed, coming into Jolly Harbour, and we say that's where it picked up Mr. Choxy, who was wheeled on a wheelchair, and he was whisked away to Dominica. So all the evidence really shows what's happened in this case. When he got to Dominica, he was handed over to customs agents who handed him over to the police commissioner, who told him who he was. He was kept in police custody, and it was only because of the very resourceful Dominican lawyers that they managed to get in and see him. There were orders that he was not to see lawyers. And in a case such as this, when there are orders such as that an individual can't see a lawyer, as is their right constitutionally in Dominica, you have to ask yourself why. Why were they trying to prevent him from seeing a lawyer? And the clear answer in this case is they thought with the Indian plane on the ground in Dominica, they could remove him from Dominica without any legal processes taking place.
Yeah, Mr. Pollard, as you may realize, most of the other evidence are already available. We have the evidence or from the Indian government that he is wanted and all what they are doing to have him back. We also have the information that he was a citizen in Antigua and that the matter is before the court. So I think the key here now is to home in on the question of the abduction, because the abduction would be key to determine the case either way. Yeah, we also have to discuss your concern in your news release about justice in the Caribbean. We also have to discuss that. So I am awaiting your response.
In regards to the kidnap from Antigua of Mr. Choksi and his being forced into Dominica, the evidence is quite clear about what's gone on here. Mr. Choksi had cases before the Antiguan courts in regards to submissions that his Antiguan nationality should be removed and that he should be extradited to India. Those cases were making their way through the Antiguan courts, and as you know, the final court of appeal for Antigua would be the Privy Council in London, because the Antiguan people chose by referendum to keep the Privy Council as their top court of appeal. There isn't a right to appeal to the Privy Council, as you know, in Dominica. India desperately wanted him, so you don't have to be a genius to work out what's happened here. They've circumvented the legal processes in Antigua by using kidnap. It's pirate diplomacy, you can put it like that. All the evidence in regards to movements of these individuals and what Mr. Choksi says himself, the fact he was injured when he turned up in Dominica as well, supports the kidnapping. Now, a number of different theories have been put out there in propaganda in regards to, they said he was trying to flee to Cuba, and your listeners will know that why would he do that? It's the wrong direction. It makes absolutely no sense. Perhaps the Indian authorities were mixing up Dominica with the Dominican Republic. It looks likely. But the people of Dominica are switched on. They know what's going on here. And the Dominican government at the moment feels like they can pull the wool over the eyes of the Dominican people. When they've been involved in what's really an extrajudicial kidnapping of someone to circumvent his rights before the Antiguan courts. This is obviously a very important matter for justice in the Caribbean. Justice in the Caribbean is on full view for the world to see. Will the Caribbean courts allow someone to be kidnapped and moved across different countries to get around their legal rights before a court? If we allow powerful states to do that, what does that say for the rights of individuals in these Caribbean countries? And I'm not just speaking about justice in Dominica or Antigua. This is a case with a cross-Caribbean dimension. So, for example, you have a boat registered in St. Vincent. You have St. Lucian nationals as well. It really calls for an inter-Caribbean inquiry, like the West Kingston inquiry, which took place in Jamaica, because it's quite clear that there's been political involvement and governmental involvement in what's happened here.
Yes, we will get to justice in the Caribbean later, but I want to focus on the actual evidence, because all the circumstantial evidence are subject to different interpretation. So I just want to know whether that is all the actual evidence that you have so that we can move on. We need to have all the facts so that we can assess the circumstances.
So I was just mentioning the interview. The interview was done on India Today on the 8th of June at 3 p.m. is the time for it. And there's lots of really interesting bits of this interview. And those who are listening to this can go and have a look at it. And then she says at one point in the interview, and it's at 26 minutes and 58 seconds, has anyone from the Indian police or intelligence ever approached you about Mr. Choksi? And they're talking about before this incident. And she says, I think that I am not supposed to comment on that at this stage. Well, let me say this. Number one, who's telling her what she's allowed to comment on and what she's not allowed to comment on? And it's a very, very strange response. If someone was to ask me if I'd had any dealings with Indian intelligence, I'd answer no, because I haven't. A very strange response in that interview. And if you listen to that interview, there's another question at 31 minutes and 38 seconds where she's asked, well, what's happened in this case? And there's a really awkward pause there. It sounds like the person in the room with her is briefing her or telling her what she's supposed to say. But you don't have to take my words for what's happened in this case. The Times of India on the 9th of June leaked the report from the Antiguan investigation. And I'm reading here, and these are the notes of Inspector Adonis Naba Henry of Antigua, and his report filed on May the 30th. So this is a report the Antiguans have had for a long time. He says this. He says, based on the information gleaned thus far in this investigation, to include witness statements and ascertained facts, it appears Mr. Choksi's claim bears some credence that he was indeed abducted from the state of Antigua and Barbuda on Sunday, May 23rd, 2021. His report goes on. Inspector Henry's report reads, investigations has revealed a series of suspicious activities leading up to Choksi's disappearance. It names a St. Kitts national travelling on a diplomatic passport, checking into Cocoa Bay Hotel in Jolly Harbour on May the 19th and checking out on the 21st. That same person returns and checks in for an additional day. This person was seen in the company of the woman we've been talking about, and they fly out at 7:25, 2 hours after Choksi went missing. They also talk about the two individuals who arrive on the boat. It states this, one of the individuals arrived on Antigua on April 10 by sea. Police have found him to be one of the passengers of the Calliope of Arn, the vessel that ferried Choksi to Dominica. The report also states the vessel had initially asked for a mooring in which a wheelchair could be rolled onto it. It says this, on May 19th, Calliope of Arn, a St. Lucian registered vessel captained by Foster Haynes, requested to be berthed sideways so that they could accommodate a passenger who was wheelchair bound. Permission was granted. Following day, the boat left the dock. This is coupled with evidence from the authorities that the Calliope of Arn, when it did leave dock in the morning, so it leaves dock around 10 o'clock in the morning, it's seen going back and forward across the bay in English Harbour. And people listening will say, well, what are they doing going back and forward across the harbour? And it becomes quite clear that they're waiting for the smaller boat, on which the kidnapped Mr. Choksi was, so he could be offloaded onto it. So that's not my words. Those are the words of Inspector Adonis Naba Henry of Antigua, which may be brushed under the carpet by the Antiguan authorities, but those are his words from the leaked report.
No, the interesting thing is, especially the Indian part of it, they have their own interpretation of all the circumstances. But you have went on to make some very serious allegations against the governments of Antigua, Dominica, and India. One of your bases is based on the fact that in Dominica, you don't go to the Privy Council. I would like you to clarify that. What would be the disadvantage or advantage of going or having a matter before the Privy Council or the Caribbean Court of Justice? Albeit we know that it is a new court, but they are very senior members of the judiciary internationally on that Caribbean Court of Justice. So I want to hear from your point of view,
We think of places where the rule of law applies. It's in the Commonwealth Charter that it's about countries which respect the rule of law. It's in CARICOM's charter as well, that it's about respecting individual human rights. So when you ask that question about the Privy Council, of course it provides an extra level of supervisory function looking at what's taken place. Mr. Choksi is not trying to get away from the Antiguan processes. He was quite safe in Antigua until this kidnapping took place. So what should happen is he should be returned there. It shouldn't be a problem for the Dominican people. This is something which is going through the Antiguan courts. He's an Antiguan national, and that's where he should be returned.
I notice you have maintained your serious allegation against the government for involving in some extrajudicial activities, and but the evidence that would really show that is when the matter is tried before the court in Dominica. Back to the CCJ, the Caribbean Court of Justice. I'm not too sure how much you are aware that the Court of Justice in the Caribbean is very much an independent court. It is set up in such a way that the government do not have any say into the appointment of judges on that court, apart from the president of the court, and it is financed by a fund that the government do not have any control over. So that's one of the basic of this court. And when it comes to the experience of the judges, they are from international, they have those from the region. So I do not really believe that the level of how would I call it, control by the government. There is no level of control by the government, as a matter of fact, in the court. So that's why I have been concerned about that. But however, as the case moves on, we are now realizing that Choksi, who was supposed to be in court yesterday, I think he would like to have his day in court. He reported sick, well, we cannot really go against it, but it is something that may count as, is he really willing to make his case before court? Based on what you said, I find your case is that he has a strong case that he was kidnapped. I thought he would make every effort to really try to explain himself to the court. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to explain your position with us.
And that's why she's asking about a boat.
Don't you think that the case you're fighting for your regulators, and that you have been asked, or you had to change something, your parent was abducted? Would you care to?
Okay, so what happened is he never answered the question of the evidence that he had. So what I'm saying is, some people, when they go out and they get information, they do not get the full information. As a matter of fact, some people are complaining, why am I playing that? And really, I would not have played that if we did not have the new development that his matter, he has been reported for making that complaint. That same evidence, that information he just gave there, he has been reported for it. And furthermore, he has been accused of not doing KYC. And now he is subject to investigation, and he may lose
his law license.
So that is the reason why I would not have played it. But because I know we have information now, we have two sides. So let me just play now a report on that lawyer, Choksi.
SRA registers complaint against Mehul Choksi's lawyer, Michael Polak. Mehul Choksi's London-based lawyer, Michael Polak, is now under questions as a complaint has been registered against him to the Solicitors Regulation Authority, SRA, in England and Wales. June 24th, 2021, London, UK. Mehul Choksi's London-based lawyer, Michael Polak, is now under questions as a complaint has been registered against him to the Solicitors Regulation Authority in England and Wales. The complaint asserted that Polak had no evidence on what he told the media or registered a complaint to the Scotland Yard and War Crimes Unit regarding the suspected abduction of Indian fugitive Mehul Choksi. The complainant suggested that doing a KYC, know your customer, on a client is extremely important in the United Kingdom. At the same time, it appears that Mr. Polak failed at conducting KYC and AML, anti-money laundering, checks on his client, Mehul Choksi, who is a wanted fraudster by the government of India. The Solicitors Regulation Authority might initiate an inquiry against Michael Polak and his company, seeking KYC, AML, source of funds, and payment gateway in which he has been paid by billion-dollar fraudster Mehul Choksi, currently arrested in Dominica. Along with that, an inquiry can also take strict actions against his statements and publications by Justice Abroad Limited, defaming several people without furnishing appropriate proof, fabricating the evidence. Despite repeated attempts, Michael Polak did not respond to the emails and messages sent by Write-Ups 24 till the article was published. In a triangular scenario between India, the Caribbean, and UK, the London barrister seems caught up himself, sitting on a very thin line of the law. The India judiciary wants Mehul Choksi for fraud, money laundering, and corruption. He is also suspected of having delayed his extradition to India from Antigua via what some believe has to be a staged kidnapping. After the recent complaint registered against London-based barrister Michael Polak, his legal position and corporate responsibility appear to be in question. Investigations at the UK at Companies House revealed that Michael Polak had been suspiciously posing as a consular or diplomatic figure as his private limited company, Justice Abroad Limited, has been named such to sound as if it has an official government body claiming to have the business activity of foreign affairs. The activity was later changed to Business Investigation Services and Solicitors. The company uses SIC 84210 Foreign Affairs, which is clearly a piece of false information, as it could be only used by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, diplomatic and consular missions stationed abroad. The inquiries discovered that the Justice Abroad is in the process of being struck off the company register in the UK. Our investigative unit's more extensive inquiries have led us to Polak's previous company, Independent Inquiries, which is now dissolved. However, after receiving a questionnaire from the Write-Ups 24, Mr. Polak changed the address of the company and submitted a confirmation letter to halt the strike-off notice, but did not revert back to the questions. Mehul Choksi is an Indian fugitive who holds the citizenship of the Caribbean island of Antigua and Barbuda. On May 23, 2021, he mysteriously went missing from Jolly Harbour, Antigua. After 2 days of being reported missing, he was discovered on a beach in the neighboring island of Dominica, from where special forces of the Dominica police captured him. He had been admitted at the Dominica China Hospital in Roseau since then, and while the court delayed his bail by stating he is a flight fear. A red corner notice is also issued on Mehul Choksi's name by Interpol, as he is wanted in a $2 billion fraud committed against India's second biggest public lender, Punjab National Bank (PNB). Apart from London, Choksi has also hired a prominent lawyer in India to seize his extradition. Well-established lawyers in India charges about the 1,000 US to 2,000 US per hour, and in India, his case has been in the hands of lawyers for the past 2 years, which too might have costed him millions of dollars. And the source of the funds, AML KYC, still remains uncertain.
So a lawyer in India is charging between 1,000 to 2,000 US dollars an hour. So you see where lawyers can come and represent clients for the money.
But what is so important is Donnie still on here? What is so important is that that lawyer in England who is saying the same thing like Lennox Linton, the same thing that Lennox tried to say in Parliament, now is being investigated for making false statement to the media, not to the court, to the media. I want us to get that good. And you heard what Mills said, how he talked to Mills.
Yeah.
The same false allegation he made to Mills. He is now in question and in trouble, can even lose his law license as a lawyer for making knowing false statement. One of the reasons is because none of the evidence that those things that he brought, there's no evidence for it nowhere in the world.
In the world.
Nowhere in the world, not even in Dominica. And he's making that and drinking that like how Linton drink cup of tea. But guess what? The opposition leader in Dominica can make the same statement and nothing happens to him. I would like somebody to answer that question. Why is Linton been able to make those false claims even in the parliament? Even try to make it in parliament. Try. And nothing happens to him for that. One man in England, one man went on to say that the man was kidnapped by three governments. India, he accused three governments: India, Dominica, and Antigua. A lawyer, a lawyer. And now he might even have to face disbarment for that statement. And in Dominica, a politician, a member of parliament, the leader of opposition, as Linton would put it, makes the same statement and nothing happens. Donny, your own.
Donny is there?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm here, yeah. So, Lennox Clinton and his followers have decided that they are going to support Choksi. Yeah, supporting Choksi. Okay. Lennox Clinton obviously has a motive. That is out there for speculation. I have my own opinion and my theory as to why Linton is so heavily or so vehemently and strongly defending Choksi. Right? Loftus Duran and the others are trying to use this as a political matter, political issue, to try to foment what they have long coveted, what they long desire is to have demonstration, and somehow they seem to believe that they can use these issues to topple the government, to make Kerry go, right? So that is their motivation. That is their reasoning behind all that, right? Now we are observing, we are commenting, right? We are rightfully making our opinions heard as to the merits, the rationale, the moral foundation, you know, of what Linton is doing. Right? There's no merit to it. There's no merit to it actually, right? So no, they on the other side are they try to get blood from stone, right? And if you all have noticed, you know, they try to use it to come to parliament, and because they want to be able to ask questions about Chokshi in the parliament, and Dr. Duran said they're going to go to protest. Once again, the protest failed, right? Matt and them trying their best. But subjects like that are not going to get anywhere, right? Because by large measure, people understand what is happening, right? People understand that these guys are just desperate to try to start an upheaval in the country, right? So you hear them in Choksi, they call in Indian television, they call in journalists, they call in this, they call in Antigua, right? But if you notice, this thing has lost steam, right? Not even them talking about it so much anymore, right? So in our critique, in our condemnation of Linton and his crew and his followers and his mob, right? Condemning their efforts to use this matter to speak in all kinds of ways, right? To try to foment demonstration in Dominica and protest in Dominica, right? We have to be careful that we don't enable them, right? By giving these things too much publicity that for them, because basically we would be doing something that they're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? I think that there's a level to which we discuss that, and bring it to the public. We condemn it. We condemn Linton because Linton obviously is doing that for his own selfish reasons, right? But we have to be guarded as how we tackle that and how we in the public distill it. That's just my opinion.
Yes, I get your point, Donny, and sometimes, some of us, we stretch things a bit. And I had to go out of the way to explain to the people that this is the thing that they were hearing for every day, for breakfast, lunch, and supper. But what they were hearing was based on fake news, was based on a statement that got the lawyer who brought it out in the public in trouble with the law. So people need to understand that. And the journalists, if you tell us about these journalists, they are not interested in facts. They are interested in setting a narrative. And we must let people know that what we have been hearing is something that was not proven, something that was fake, something that had a dubious intention to stray the public and try to make a mess of a situation in Dominica. And that's why we're saying that the UWP and the people on the other radio station, all they are interested is in stirring trouble. And you'll not be hearing this story on Kyrie or any other place. You'll only hear that story on Q95. But as I say, I get the point, Donny. I get the point some people call. But the point is, we have to let people understand that you're hearing things. The things that you hear will never be true unless you have an appreciation as to when somebody is making a statement that they can stand by. So those statements we are saying that these were statements that they made for propaganda purposes and trying to see if some people may be even trying to see if they can get money out of a fugitive who is wanted and has, in the case of London, the lawyer was supposed to do a KYC and check for anti-money laundering. I don't know what's happening in Dominica. I hope that the lawyers in Dominica are satisfied that they are doing their due diligence as to how they are getting paid. I hope they are doing that. You know?
They are.
You think they're doing that?
You think they are.
You see, that case is getting interesting, and now it's turning back on Linton as always, because he tried his best to implicate people that were not involved in that case. Now it's backfiring. The top lawyer that is feeding, and they have been feeding information. They have been feeding information, but it appears that show me your friends and tell you who you are, because
you know, you have to remove some of the publication
on his website.
Yes,
he had a boat. He had a boat, and he had to take it out because.
But, sorry, listen for cutting you off. But you can always rely on Lennox Linton to exercise poor judgment. You can always rely on him for that. Always, right? And that is because of the character. That is because of his character. That's because of his character, right? This man has an innate quality in him, right? That thrives and feeds on negativity, on unproven allegations, on salacious rumor, especially when he thinks he can implicate Roosevelt, right? He doesn't care, right, about verifying information, right? And you will hear other people, who are, on the same side as him, will make the allegations and will throw their stones. But Lincoln will tell you straight up. He will tell you straight up that yes, it was a plot to kidnap.
That is why he has so many cases before the court for defaming people.
That is why, and that should be a measure. That should be a measure, okay, of his character to the people who are supporting him, right? When you have a man who continuously sued in court, who continuously sued and loses cases in court for the same thing, for defamation of character, right? That is a habit. That is a habit he has. He was sued for lying on peanut bird, right? Now he's in court for calling ministers rapists, and then he's in court with the prime minister for saying the prime minister sell passport under the table, right? He is obsessed with this thing, It's like he cannot control himself, right? So the fact that Mehul Choksi is a big, one of the biggest criminals in the world right now, as financial crime, he doesn't care about that, because he believes out of that issue he can find something to throw at Roosevelt Skerrit. That's all it is, and that is the behavior of a very irresponsible individual, a man who doesn't stand on any moral ground or foundation, right? One day a criminal and a crook should go to jail. Montfort should go to jail, but this criminal and crook shouldn't go to jail because he knows if he goes to Antigua he will not go to jail, because in Antigua there's no charges against him for theft of money. The case is in India. So Linton is saying, don't send him to Antigua. He's trying to protect the man. So Linton is just I don't have to describe it.
It just tells you about the character of the man. When a person has a flawed character, they do not have a conscience, and they do not do things that are morally right. Because look at the point we're trying to make here. That if you're a journalist, you're pushing a story. You think it is true. When you get evidence that is contrary to what you were saying, have you ever heard them say on the other radio station that the lawyer was reported, that he may lose his license, that he did not do
They won't report that.
I heard somebody call Matt this morning and asked if they're not talking about that case anymore. He said, no, we'll hold that down for now. But he's not giving them any update. So that is just trying to show you how these people behave. They have no moral conscience. All they think they can use the radio to bend the mind of the people. In America, they use the radio, they use misinformation, they use the echo chamber to radicalize the population so that you find people taking some kind of bizarre decision. How can you see 8 men or 9 men by Parliament is going on and they come in and protest to say free Choxy?
You know,
and those Dominicans have to know the men that are coming and demonstrate to free Choxy, they are the supporters of Lennox Linton. They don't know Choxy, they haven't spoken to Choxy, they got the news from Lennox and they're spreading it. Why Dominicans is that so important to Lennox? Lennox even want to meet, and I think he met family members. Right? Why would Lennox want to meet the family member of a criminal? Why? There is a guy in Granby that America trying to extradite to St. Thomas. And Lennox not saying nothing on that.
Well, somebody gave to me the most appropriate answer I heard. Somebody who called and said because he was ghost. After that, he said because the guy do have $2 billion.
No. All of a sudden, Lennox is concerned about the rights of Choxy, human right. Come on, Lennox. No, you want to talk about leadership? Lennox, that is leadership. What you're doing is good leadership. Keep doing it, my brother. Congratulations. You just won another 5 years as leader of the opposition. You just won that. And let me tell you that. Lennox is the happiest man out, you know. As long as Lennox can please Blessing, Matt, Corbett, and the others, he okay, you know. Lennox don't have to please you, you know. Lennox don't have to please Mills, you know. He have to pander to these people that are going to keep him there. Because when Lennox talk like that, they saying, yes, that's a leader. Yes, that's a leader.
He can stand up to scare it.
Because listen how he talk to scare it in Parliament. Because, birds of a feather flock together.
Just imagine, right? I listened. I heard Lennox was talking to some a journalist in India, right, about the Choxy matter. And the journalist said to Lennox, Linton, why, basically asking him, why are you supporting this man, right? A man who has an Interpol red corner notice out for him, right? And Lennox Linton's response was, an Interpol notice is not an arrest warrant.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah, that is what he told the man, and that response really amazed me, right? Because he is actually that is a subtle, well, it's not subtle. It's a pushback against Interpol, right? Right there, Lennox is telling the reporter, the journalist, that he's supporting Choxy over Interpol. That his response was a reflexive reaction. I'm taking that side.
You know that's not the first time Lennox. So go ahead.
Yeah, and we know what an Interpol record notice is, right? It is not an arrest warrant, right? But it is a notice to law enforcement agency around the world that this criminal is on the run, and if it's in your jurisdiction, you should. Not encourage. How I put it? I advise you to arrest him. Right?
Yeah.
Because this is the cooperation and agreement that Interpol has with countries who are signing to it.
They'll be flagged if they come in your port.
Yeah. So they're letting you know, and they'll give you all the information and all the evidence that you require to make a judgment to send him, to arrest him and send him back to.
So then the minister can say that person is what they call him again. What they call them when you don't want them in the country.
Persona non grata.
Persona non grata.
Persona non grata.
Yeah. But I was saying that's not the first time Lennox is trying to skip Interpol, you know. Remember for the election he wanted to bring his claim of the $1.2 billion to Interpol and FBI.
Yeah.
And then he went to Panama to try to sell a diplomatic passport and say he did the same thing FBI and Interpol wanted to do. That is what he was going after the man for. You remember? So maybe anytime, so it is in some way it is still connected to a person who is a fugitive. So Lennox is always after money. It doesn't matter how we get it. That is why.
And you're right. And I can guarantee, if Mehu Choksi was some broke nobody, we don't want to care about him.
He would not sit in court.
He would not care about him.
He will not sit in court. He jam a little boy. He never go and see the boy at the hospital. He never check the family of the little boy that is incapacitated. Well, he's a big man now. Well incapacitated. Now you want to see the family of a fugitive. And then they are so concerned about Choksi. They're talking about his health condition and all kind of things. But these people are wicked, you know. Anyway, we are quarter to the hour. Maybe your callers may want to call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will hang up for the good call.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Cool. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw somebody on the look. As we said, that somebody in local line. Good evening.
Gentlemen, they're like a movie, man.
Yes, man. These people.
Just one question I have. Mr. Milton, is it possible that, let's say, a citizen of a country, for example, Dominica, can be declared a persona non grata?
In Dominica?
In their own country, especially as the person has done a series of things that...
I don't think so, but not in Dominica.
Development.
Not in Dominica.
Dominica. So legally, is it possible?
No, I don't think in Dominica. In some countries, I think they do that. And you know, in Africa, they have a tradition of banishing some people according to what they do. You know, in Africa they do that. But I don't think we have that law in Dominica. We have somebody on the overseas line. Good evening. Good evening, caller on the overseas line. So, hello. Okay, well, maybe something go wrong. The caller will call back again. So yes, Madam Edison.
Yes. You see, my whole issue with that case, right, is the hypocrisy of the opposition and the lack of guidance and leadership that Linton shows to his people. Because, come on, I mean, yes, not because you're an opposition that you have a caller.
Yeah, caller on the overseas line. Good evening.
Yeah, fireman touching this because you know.
Fireman.
The fireman must put his leg to. Yes, brother, well and truly talking about toxic as I say. And you won't know it for a fact. And I tell you that's why I say I don't call him Mr. Leonard Clinton, I call him top up. Well and truly. Because when he was straight, nobody's real. Because when he was with my lord, right? Workers that precinct. A partner bring 12 ministers to court. Yes or no, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, you have precinct a man bring 12 ministers to court. Now, if they win the case, as they say, they get in 15 seats inside government.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you cite past that man. Now, toxic thief money from poor people, from disabled, from all type of people, as you say in world boss, the criminal and world boss, all got different things. How much allegation you calling and you, the world telling you about toxic, right? I mean, let's get real. If you love and respect humanity, my lord, and you love your country, that's why I tell you, Mr. Wicked Man, because what I tell you, I never forget Mr. I have to call and burn my fire too, you know. Because I never forget Mr. Caller on a program, he and some other, whosoever they wasn't saying that. Rivernica is an illegal country with a bunch of criminals, you know what I'm saying? So which means now, because there is an illegal country with a bunch of criminals, so you can hug and wine and dine with criminals, and you know they are criminals because all criminals you call criminals, you have no proof of that. But this man there, the world know that they're looking for him and they need of him. You know what I'm saying? The problem we have with that problem with toxic, I say again, the problem we have with toxic is how you find yourself in our place. Who invite you to our place? You know what I'm saying? And Mr. Cleville Mills, he's a police officer. Police are the security of our country. So anybody who come in our place illegally, that's the police case and that's the police business. You know what I'm saying? So they might have to get it real. Toxic not born in Antigua. Toxic have a passport, as you know. So if Toxic have a problem, no matter what, the Caribbean suffering because all of us is one family. Because when the hurricane passed in River Nica, don't forget, it wasn't River Nica people that helped River Nica. It's the whole Caribbean that come together and help us. No matter all outside the world, same way. So one hand cannot clap. Look, COVID virus come, vaccine was a problem. The same India that helped us, we have to get real. One hand can't clap. I don't take too much of the time, but I tell you, my lord, top up is the worst virus in the world right now. And top up and his crew living, it's looking like them and living on toxic money. That's why they're so concerned and they're so care. So, world boss, good evening to you. It's a great family, the care of our family. Mr. Moses, my original lawyer, my big brother, sister Stephanie Mami, the whole Labour family, the 21 constituency, my lord, up and running, fireman running, blessed up, I give my 2 cents.
Thank you, caller. You know, Ellison, in some news cycle where you have the news is going on, you find that they try to keep something in the news, but you have to report on the updates. But because now the latest update on the Choksi matter is that the case that they were claiming that was filed by the lawyer was a fraudulent case, and that lawyer is in trouble. So the people who are reporting on that, they do not have anything to say in, but they are not honest enough to let people know that what I was saying there was false. And that is where we have the dishonesty in the media. We have somebody on the local line.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to find out how the police get to know that Choksi was coming to Dominica so that they would be in the same location, in the same area, pick him up and bring him to the hospital.
But,
I would like to know.
Okay, the same way they get it.
Have to answer a question.
The same way they get to know when they arrest other people who come into the country illegally. That's not the first time the police arrest people who come in the country illegally. Some people come in illegally and they escape. Some come in illegally and the police catch them. What's your problem with that?
Yes, it's true. But listen, the people that inform the police.
First of all, we have no evidence anybody informed police. We don't know. We're not going to speculate here. So what happened what we have in our hand is that Choksi was caught. That's what we have. Okay. I'm not going to speculate with you. Leave that for Lennox Linton to speculate. We are not speculators here. We deal with facts.
The only other thing we have, the story that he made as to how he come here, they find it was false. The lawyer who was saying that, he's in trouble for making the statement he make. Okay?
Okay, listen. One more thing.
Let me hear you one more thing.
How Lennox Linton get involved? I think he should know everything about Choksi. That is why he had to end up in court. Ask him that question.
Well, yeah, that's why he's in court. He's trying to get his money. Okay? He's trying to get his money because money seems to be spreading. He's trying to get his share.
A man have $2 billion, so Lennox is obsessed with billions of dollars. So he's trying to see how he can put his hand on that.
Yeah. So I hope the caller get the answer because the cutoff. We have somebody on the international line. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, I just tuned in right now. I'm very concerning this individual who called the violator, this lady. I kind of following. I'm following this thing all along and kind of trying to read as much as the different media viewpoints on this. And first of all, I would like to say there are people who were all claiming that this was not an international matter, and for how they see it unfold now, it has been and was an international matter all along. And for like what I read somewhere, hi God, I can't even quote where it came from, is that actually the captain of whichever whatever yacht they kind of hired, actually somebody was sick. It seems like the original stuff was not even Dominica. They went there with St. Lucia. Isn't that what it was all about?
Well,
You see, you see, the issue right here is that what we are discussing is that the what Linton them have been bringing out is false. I am not going to go to where the boat was going, what happened. What I know is that the opposition and the lawyer for Chucksit, I always say chopstick according to Fireman, said that the man, India, Antigua, and Dominica governments came together to kidnap the man. And that is what we are addressing. Now, the lawyer that brought that story out, he is facing legal trouble in England for bringing out false statement to the media. And the point here is that the opposition leader in Dominica is running with that story. That's the point.
Yeah, but listen to that. It's again, I'm looking at all the, it's like even questioning in terms of, I would not even want to think. To me, it's kind of basic, first thing, common sense that actually I would, outright just accuse the government and the police of actually kidnapping somebody.
That's right.
That is I do not understand the logic behind it for one, and that is what I'm trying to follow as much as I can from people who are like the news media, like people who actually kind of interviewing the people.
But let me give you one word of advice. Whenever Linton speaks, there's nothing logical about what Linton says.
Okay.
And this is my problem. You see, I that whole political. I try to be, I try my best to be kind of.
Okay, I think, caller, I think you made your point. We have callers on the line. The point is, the point is they made a false statement and they got caught in a false statement. Yeah, there was a caller on the local line. If they call back soon, I will take the call. But it is about time for us to wind down, and then I may have to play
Donny.
Oh, Donny. Let me take Donny. Let me take Donny again, and he's coming in, and then I may have to play the weather report just before we end the program this evening. Donny, your closing remarks.
Yes, my closing remarks. The caller, has some interesting.
That is Lloyd.
Viewpoint, right? Interesting viewpoint.
Yeah.
Right. But you see that is the issue with a lot of more or less the Workers' Party people, right? They are drawn to stories of intrigue.
Yeah.
Right? They all want to, they form a dramatic scenario in the mind of how the man got to Dominica.
Yeah.
The facts that confront us right now that we know, right? The facts that cannot be disputed is that Mehul Choksi is an Indian fugitive accused of stealing over $2 billion from India.
Factual.
The other fact is he came to Dominica illegally.
Factual.
Right? And the police has a duty to apprehend people who come to our country illegally.
Factual.
Right? And now he's before the court, right? On this illegal entry charge. And also, because there is an Interpol red corner notice out for him, Dominica, being a signatory to Interpol, now has to decide what is going to be his fate, whether he goes to India or goes to Antigua, and the court will decide. These are the facts. All the other stories about they bring about he was captured. Tell them, bring the evidence. Tell them, bring the people who kidnapped him. Right?
When Linton was asked for the evidence, he said, "I frankly don't know."
He don't know. So anyway, my brother, thank you again. It's always a pleasure. This time always run by too fast. Mr. I've spoken to you already. I'm getting more time because.
Okay.
But thank you so much. Wonderful program.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good night, Elizabeth.
We'll meet again. Yes, Elizabeth, we have to close on. I'm trying to get the weather report.
It's factual that Lennox Linton, now you're going to find that story going to disappear from Q95. They are not going to apologize. They are just going to jump on something else. Just wait for next week. Some other story is going to take that up because they get caught. Yo, Chebe Choke!
Yeah, they are caught in their lies, and that is what we are here to expose: disinformation, misinformation, fake news, and people who are malicious, have no conscience. All they are concerned about is bringing false information to the public. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dominican, thank you very much for listening. Until next week at the same time, we'll have another program of True Politics, bringing you the information. Thank you for listening. Good evening, Dominica.
And give me, this is the mighty moment. I know who I am, know my identity.
FM.
Hello and good evening. Welcome to Anupalin. Thank you for joining me yet again. Thank you for answering the call to engage in prayer and fasting over the past 3 days.